It's Friday, guys. Today is Friday. It's June the 14th, and I'm coming to you live from my little reporting space. This is Pop Analysis. It's great to be with you. If you're joining me this evening, we have so many different things to cover. It's been a little bit of a while. I'll have to tell you, to be honest, I had a computer that I had for about 13 years. It was my baby. And the reason why this computer was my baby is because when I was having issues with my PC and I was writing like a final paper and it crashed when I was at like page number 14 and I had to go to the Geek Squad to go get it fixed. That was when I entered the world of MacBook, because I was told that those computers don't get viruses. And guess what? They don't. So that is how I came to be an Apple person. And so my Apple, after all these years, just decided to completely just crap on me, stop working. And there's no way that I can operate without a computer. Business requires me to have a computer. There's no way. So I had to make an investment. And so now I'm back. I'm back up again. So it's exciting to be back here. Again, it's been a really busy week. Not sure I have much news you guys have been tuning into or watching. I've been keeping myself busy and also tuning in to the salacious trials out of Fulton County, Georgia, with YSL. I think that stands for Young Slime Life. Um, a lot of details. It's like a soap opera. If you I haven't watched the entire trial all the way, but I had gotten a snapshot, and basically that judge is like throwing everybody in jail. He's throwing everybody in jail. Um, if you were paying attention or at least seen that they recently tried to hold Young Thug's attorney, I think his name is Brian Steele, they tried to hold him in contempt. But the Supreme Court weighed in as a result of Ashley Merchant, the attorney. One of the attorneys is basically that has brought um, this Trump trial on to an extreme halt because she revealed the affair that Fulton County DA Fannie Willis was having with the special counsel Nathan Wade. And so, also recently, you would have seen in the news as well that the Georgia Appeals Court is actually going to take up this case. So, they looked at the evidence, they assessed the information that was argued previously, and now they are actually going to have a hearing. If I'm correct, I want to say that hearing is supposed to take place in October, maybe October 4th to be precise, but it is going to go on. And I think Fannie Willis has just responded to basically telling them that, hey, you need to dismiss this, get this out of here. Like Judge Scott McAfee already ruled on it, and you can just get out of here with that. So I don't think that that's going to happen. I think it's going to be heard. But there's a lot of fireworks going on in Atlanta, Georgia, and mostly it truly seems like there is truly an odor of mendacity throughout the court system there in Fulton County specifically. Specifically. Okay, so anyway, having said that, like I said, Young Thug's trial, if you guys aren't watching it, there is a lot of content. I think there is this guy, Woody, this character. He is just a very colorful character, is all I'll say for a lack of better terms. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot. So much content. So if you do get a chance, check it out. It is like, I mean, I feel like each day is interesting to watch. Now, I don't know what channel it's actually like being broadcast on, but there are YouTubers that are actually covering it live. One, by the way, is an attorney that's in Georgia. He calls himself the lead attorney, super entertaining. And he comes on with his protege, his colleague, AV to the seventh power, I want to say is her name, but they cover it. So really good details, but they crack jokes, they engage with you. It's super, super worthwhile if you want to check into that and actually listen to them cover that case. All right. So having said that, let's follow up with what we're talking about tonight. Now, I don't know if you guys also have been paying attention. There has been congressional hearings recently that have been covering Fauci, and there was some leak recording of Fauci. And in this leak recording, Fauci essentially basically kind of says the reason why, that they wanted to put these mandates in. So this is actually on my Instagram. I am going to, if you haven't heard the recording, because that's where it's at, if you haven't heard the recording, I am going to play it for you really quickly. And I had to post this because there's so many people that were just blindly following Fauci. And so anyway, this recently came out, congressional hearings, and this was a leak audio from Fauci. And here it is.
Empowered and protected legally. You are going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated. Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit and they get vaccinated. That's exactly what you meant when you said making it hard for people to live without getting a vaccination. You affected people's ability to work, travel, be educated, to actually flourish in American society, to self-determine, as we're all given God-given rights. Shame on you. You inspired and created fear through mass mandates, school closures, vaccine mandates that have destroyed the American people's trust in our public health institution. People feel empowered.
So, folks, if there's any reason why, if you're in the middle, if you are just a libertarian, if you are a moderate Democrat, if you are a Republican that feels like, oh, you just can't vote for Trump or something like that. I don't know how many of you are actually still out there if you consider yourself a Republican. If you're a conservative, if you believe in your civil liberties, if there's one reason, if I had no other reason to vote for Trump, if I was a single issue voter, I would be a single issue voter on COVID and the response to COVID and what they tried to implement and everything they did and the lack of accountability, which I can't say to this day that there's actually going to be accountability. But because all of this was planned, the lies, the smear campaigns, the division that was caused amongst family. I personally had to attend my uncle's funeral from a screen. Essentially, I had to watch my uncle, who was a well-known pastor, a staple in the community. I could not be physically at his funeral because I had to watch it on a screen due to COVID rules and regulations. The learning loss that children were subject to as a result of schools shutting down. It's going to be years before, if they're ever even able to catch up. The jobs, the livelihoods that was disrupted for people who were not able to actually just go to work because they did not want to get inoculated. There needs to be some kind of adjudication of all these things. I mean, there are lawsuits I'm hearing about going by, but they knew what they were doing and they knew that they can tie this up in the court system and that it would take a while before people would be able to get any resolution for what was done to them. So to me, if there's any single issue as to why you should be voting for Trump in 2024, it's on COVID. There are critics. There are people who complain about Trump and Operation Warp Speed. But at the same time, too, you have to understand what Trump has been up against. I don't even think Trump entirely knew what he was up against. I think he knows now. I think he knows now. So that would be the one issue. All right. So let's go to the campaign rhetoric. So I absolutely love the idea of them not taxing commissions. I think that's going to be huge for your working folks who are in the service industry, obviously, which there are many. And I mean, taxing commissions, it's like, seriously, that shouldn't be the case. Oh, not even commission. I'm sorry. Taxing tips. Taxing tips. That's what they're doing. Taxing tips. I think that would be great. I think that's a great, great, great campaign rhetoric. I think they should definitely implement that. Don't know how that would be done. It would probably have to be done from a statewide point of view. But I think that'd be awesome if they do that. That would be great. But then the states would probably try to find some other way. Who knows? But I think it would be great as far as a campaign promise goes. The other thing, though, while you're looking at things on the campaign trail or policies that are going to make it better for everyday working people, one other item I would add to that would be this 1099K rule. So if you guys are small business owners, or know of any, or some people who may just, maybe they have a regular full-time job and they do something on the side, right? People have side hustles, right? And remember that whole $600 rule that came up that basically said that if you are making $600 or more, you have to pay taxes on it. So I, for one, were one of those people who you're affected by this. So, and I use PayPal. And so I had to, just pull this up so you guys can see. So, well, I have to pay taxes when sending and receiving money on PayPal. What exactly is changing? So began this year in 2024, the IRS implemented new requirements for payments received for goods and services, which will lower the reporting threshold to $600 for 2024 tax seasons from 2023's threshold of $20,000 and 200 transactions. So essentially, without going through the entire article, if you were somebody who maybe sold passively on Etsy or eBay, right? And you used a platform like PayPal to process your transactions, you were able to basically sell up to $20,000 in the past and not have to report that. So essentially $20,000, you were able to sell up to $20,000 and not have to report that. But then, Joe Smo and this administration reduced that number to $600. That is ridiculous. So $600, it's like, if you do a transaction of $600, you're going to have to report that. So if you go a little bit deeper, it says this new threshold change is only for payments received for goods and services transactions. So this doesn't include things like paying your family or friends back using PayPal for dinner gifts, shared trips, etc. So essentially, to me, that's more so it is a attack on small business owners. Why? Because this could be another source of income for them. And so before, they were able to make up to $20,000 additional dollars and not have to report that to the IRS. Now $600. So $600, once they make $600 or more, now it has to be reported. It's not good. It's not a good policy. Not a good policy at all. And that brings me to the last subject on tonight's video. And that's going to be with an FTC. So there's an FTC, the Federal Trades Rule. banning non-competes. So this article was back in April 2024. There's been an update. I know something just was reported, I'd say probably today with Bloomberg News, but essentially FTC issued a final rule to promote competition by banning non-competes nationwide, protecting the fundamental freedom of workers to change jobs, increase innovation, and fostering new business formation. So FTC estimates that the final rule banning non-competes will lead to new business formation growing by 2.7% per year, resulting in more than 8,500 additional new businesses created each year. The final rule is expected to result in higher earnings for workers, with estimated earnings increasing for the average worker by an additional $524 a year. That doesn't sound like much, but I know as far as non-competes goes in my business, is my kind of business, this is huge. It's revolutionary, especially if you're in sales too. There are lots of implications, but this is a good article. This is actually from FTC's their website, Federal Trade Commission, and as you can see, this was April 23rd, 2024. And this is that FTC ruling. And now, most recently, this update has the following. If you bear with me, I will take you there. And here's the most recent news. The most recent news. FTC non-compete rule challenge will be decided without hearing. Judge Brown says hearing on non-compete challenge is unnecessary. FTC regulation is set to go into effect in September. A Texas federal judge said she will decide a challenge to the Federal Trade Commission's near total ban on worker non-competes without a hearing. So I guess it's just saying that she's going to listen to the argument made. This is not going to be good so much for corporations because they are the ones that have most folks sign non-competes and essentially tell those folks if they leave, they can't do certain things. So essentially, this judge is saying that they're going to hear it. A hearing on the requested injunctive relief, it is not necessary, said Ada E. Brown of the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Texas in a brief order submitted late Thursday. Brown has said she will make a decision by July the 3rd on a motion for preliminary injunction seeking to block the regulation, which is set to go into effect in September. A ruling will carry significant weight as non-compete provisions are utilized across the economy, including in industries such as tech and finance. So in other words, regardless of this, whatever happens with this whole non-compete, there's going to be workarounds. It's even noted in this, like, non-disclosure agreements. That's what they're going to be using, which I think everybody knows those things exist. They're legal. So they're just going to tighten those things up. But essentially, big corporations are not going to be able to go after little guys and sue them for anything. Of course, there's proprietary information you don't want to share. If you work for a corporation, you're not supposed to do that. But the bottom line is that this is going to make it easier for people to spin off and start their own businesses without fear of retribution from the big corporations. So with that said, guys, I hope you have an amazing Friday. If you are a daddy, happy Father's Day. If you're still with me this long, I appreciate your time. It is now, gosh, what time is it? Oh my God, did I turn my phone off? Wow. Well, it's definitely after 8 o'clock. And I know tonight is game 4 of the NBA Finals with the Boston Celtics versus the Dallas Mavericks. If you're a Dallas fan, I'm sorry. It looks like something's going to happen tonight. And possibly the Boston Celtics may win the championship tonight. So have an amazing evening. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this content, if you appreciate it, if you want to hear more of it, please help me grow, like and subscribe, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Pop Analysis. Have an amazing evening. Bye.